every once in a while in the stacking community, there's something that comes along that just kind of pulls the rug out from under you and just shakes you to your core. For me, it was the travesty of Tim from Yankee Stacking getting one of his bank accounts closed. I just knew that this was, Big Brother and, the deep state really coming after coin shops and coin dealers and the silver community. We have been in their sights for a long time, and they're finally taking action. They're cracking down because they don't want you to be your own bank. They don't want silver and gold and real money to be the people's, way out of the system. What a joke. It's so funny. Of course, like all of us, I'm sure you've seen, so many of these videos of coin shop owners saying, my bank account got closed by the bank. You're going to be next. No, I'm really not going to be next. You're the one who's, targeted for that. Why? Every time you see this, no one wants to see anyone suffer and go through, losing their bank account, which is a big pain in the butt. Anybody knows that. Anybody who's ever lost your debit card or, lost your checkbook and had to close an account and reopen one knows you got to jump through a bunch of hoops. You got to reset everything up for, auto withdrawal or auto payment. It's just not fun. But I think it's actually kind of rich, particularly from, Mr. Doomsday himself, to talk about, the deep state and the banks are coming for. No. And not only is it not true, but it's really disingenuous to kind of frame things as this big conspiracy. Why would a bank close the accounts of coin shop dealers, coin shop owners? Well, because, they're money outside the system, and they're fighting back for the common man. They're going to give you, be your own bank. No, that's not why. And they know why. They know the reason. Why? Because they're high cash businesses. Banks do not like cash-based businesses. They don't like anything to do with dealing with cash. From their standpoint, and it's not just, part of it is the Patriot Act. The reality is the Patriot Act made, banking much more difficult because the reporting requirements, the due diligence on the bank side about where's money coming from, who's making transactions, has made it much more difficult to keep track of. And the banks don't like that. That costs money. It costs overhead. You got to have people to actually do that and follow up on that stuff. And so it's just not worth it. Now, the funny part to me, like with these coin shop, bank account closures, is that it's funny because a lot of these coin shop owners, when you talk to them, they're the ones who are, don't regulate business and, the free market and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, a publicly traded corporation, a for-profit business that makes decisions as far as, who they want to do business with, when they kick them out of their bank, and they don't want to do business with them, all of a sudden it's a problem. We need to deal with this, and I need to call my congressman. Tim was calling his congressman because, they're going to do something for him. They're going to laugh at you, Tim. Let me save you some time. They're going to laugh at you because you're a joke. They don't care. Now, anybody who's ever worked in the banking industry knows that this isn't a targeted thing. Whenever you open a business account at a bank, the small business banker, whoever opens your account, there's actually a list of approved, and it's funny. It's actually like a tiered list of desirable and non-desirable entities as far as, things that the banks want to do business with. And now I would say it's probably pretty uniform between the different banks, Chase, JP Morgan, Wells. And obviously, a good portion of it is based on, state laws and federal laws, things like that. But each bank has its things. For example, here in California, even though marijuana is legal, banks won't touch it. So if you have anything to do with, marijuana, whether it's, anything, sales, distribution, warehousing it, anything to do with cannabis, the banks aren't going to touch you. And if they do find out that you have something to do with that, they will close you down in a heartbeat, whether you're doing anything shady or not. Even if you have a legitimate business, you have a storefront, et cetera, they're not interested in doing that kind of business. It doesn't make sense for them. And so the interesting part, when I see these coin shop videos, and there's one in particular, I'm actually going to link in the description because, this is the same guy who got his bank account closed. He's a coin dealer. And he was talking about, seeing Tim from Yankee Stacking's video about getting his TD account closed, and we're being targeted, and no, no, you're not. No one's coming for you. The reality is, look at it from the bank side. The banks, how do they make their money? They make their money through lending, right? They lend out that money that you deposit on them. The thing is, if you have a high, turnover in your accounts, you're constantly buying and selling inventory from your account, plus additionally, you're asking for cash from us, for certain transactions, or depositing cash, all of those things cost the bank money. And so at a certain point, like I said, like depending on what type of business you're doing, it's just not worth it. You're not really worth it as a customer. We have plenty of lamos that deposit their paycheck and let it sit there, or their $10 million sitting in their savings account earning 0.01. We don't need your business. That's what they don't get. They don't understand that really they don't need their business at all in any way, shape, or form. They're not doing anything for the bank. And so, but it's funny because when you hear the coin shop owners talk about it, they're like, this is wrong and blah, blah. Is it? Is it? Because these are the exact types of things, that so many, and especially in the, again, we're not too political, but on the more conservative end of the spectrum, that champion, the rights of corporations and the free market. Well, this is the rights of the free market in action. You should celebrate getting your bank account closed. It should make you happy to know that for-profit corporation has decided they don't want to do business with you. You're a liability. You're not an asset to them. And so they're getting rid of you. They're kicking you to the curb. If anything, you should take that money that they kicked you out of their bank with and buy some stock, because they're making good financial decisions, good business decisions. Now, again, it's kind of funny to me, because when I look at, things like that, like the people who champion the free market and corporations, and they're the job creators. And then, when you look at other things, the other side of the coin, such as, look at healthcare, for example, when the insurance company denies your claim for whatever reason they can make up. So look at what's going on in Florida, where, home insurers are basically laughing at customers and pulling out of the market, making it almost impossible to get, homeowners insurance, which is crazy. I mean, think about that. Like, imagine not having homeowners insurance or being unable to get it. Imagine having a mortgage, which requires you to have, homeowners insurance on your property. All of these different things. It's a very interesting world, and yet, only when it happens to you do you care about, corporations having their way with, us, the consumer. The reality is that we're all subject to it, and we all get screwed in different ways depending on, what our needs are. But it's just funny to me, again, when I hear these sob stories from the coin shop owners. It's like, you guys know they don't want your business. What value do you think you're providing the bank? I thought the whole thing with stacking was be your own bank. What do you need the bank for? Well, Chris, of course they need a bank because blah, blah, blah. You do need a regular, do you? I've heard all this about be your own bank and how it's outside the system and you don't need the man. And I've heard Tim tell me time and time again and how, you're your own system and you don't need them. But then why are you worrying about telling me about why your bank account got closed? Again, you should be celebrating your liberation from from corporations, from the deep state, from all of those things that you talk about that, just show how absolutely disconnected you are with reality. It's just funny and hypocritical, like, to see those kind of things to me, because it's like, why they did it. It's not any type of conspiracy. It's not anything about coin shops in particular. There's certain types of businesses the banks don't feel like, you're a good use of their time and money. They're going to kick you to the curb. Okay, just like any other business. It's funny that, again, that people feel like they're entitled to a service from a publicly traded corporation, right? No shirt, no shoes, no service. With anything, right? It's very funny to me. But when I see these kind of things, again, these kind of, scenarios, when the average or new stacker sees those kind of things and sees, wow, the stacking community is really getting persecuted. Wow, it's crazy. Is it, or is it just good business practices on behalf of the banks? And that's the thing is, when, where did this victim mentality come from in the stacking community? And why do we, let it pervade, the general stacking community? It should be, again, who am I to say what the stacking community should be? But the thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, stacking is about the metals themselves, and then there's obviously a huge collecting contingent to that. But these kind of things, where the coin shop owner is telling you how their bank account got closed. Yeah, it's interesting the first couple times you hear it. But when you try to make it into I'm being targeted unfairly. Are you though? Are you? Why don't you guys start your own bank? Start the stackers credit, the coin shop credit union. It can be done. It can be done with enough time and effort. Why doesn't Tim do that? He's an authority. Why doesn't he call his congressman and ask for a charter so he can start his own silver bank or whatever? I'm not going to do that. He'd rather cry about it to his congressman who's going to laugh at him and hang up. These are the kind of things that, again, the stacking community, you see these things so often. And I think particularly in a time like this where there's also a lot of videos out there about stacking being dead. Now, obviously, that's not true. I think the thing is that with the general stacking community, it seems, and just metals in general, a lot of, collectors of the generic stuff, generic collections like, these kind of things, that kind of stuff, has really fallen off because of the price fluctuation. People who want a deal aren't really incentivized because the price hasn't come down, and there's nothing really exciting coming out. So the only thing you could really turn to is, if you're a real true stacker and you're just, dollar cost averaging in, well, obviously it doesn't matter because, you're getting the cheapest stuff you can get your hands on and you're just dealing in weight. Okay, that's perfect. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like the average stacker, the reality is you're, a glorified silver collector of some sort. And so because of that, you're looking for a deal and you're looking for stuff that you like. But right now, there's not really much that's exciting out there. And if there is, it's more of a collectible where you actually have to, like a numismatic, where you actually have to know what it is, know something about it before you buy it, because it's an actual, larger expenditure. The stacking community, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of good channels that give, so much back to the community. And that's great. It's really good to see. But I think, these other people that make videos about like, oh my gosh, everything is a conspiracy, everything is, being persecuted by the man. No, it's not. That's just called real life, and that's something that you have to deal with. Is it fun? No, but all of us go through it, right? To make it seem like, again, stacking community or coin dealers, coin shop owners are being targeted, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And you live life, you deal with it, and you move on. You have a few different bank accounts. You got to do what you got to do, right? You're a business owner. These are the kind of things that business owners face. It's not anything abnormal. It's also particularly interesting to me that, I've seen lately that Walmart, Costco, those kind of things are entering the bullion market to be able to sell, bullion. Interesting. I remember the first time I saw, a 10-ounce coin from the Queen's Beast series on Walmart.com, or an ad for Walmart, and I was like, what the hell? Walmart sells silver? At first I wasn't even sure. I was like, wait, Walmart, is this real? But obviously it was, and now of course you're seeing Costco kind of doing the same thing. It's interesting to me because I wonder if that's a competition at some point to the bullion cartel, or if that's kind of its own separate thing that really isn't a threat to that kind of thing. But if people started buying through those kind of things, even better. I'd love to go to Costco and see an actual display full of, silver. That'd be awesome. That way I could do that while the rest of the family's buying, the rest of the overpriced Costco stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it, like anything else, because I think, again, this victim mentality of like coin dealers being singled out, it's disingenuous. And especially when I hear it from someone like Tim, who constantly touts how, the system's going to crash and da-da-da. And yet you're depending on the system and you're whining about how, a publicly traded corporation is kicking you out of it.